Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Anna Marie and I'm so excited for this video today. I've got a lot of really awesome books to share with you guys. So this is going to be basically my April TBR, but because it is April, many of you also know that it is the Owls Readathon, the magical Readathon month. And this is my first year on BookTube, but I have been keeping up with the Owls Readathon and watching everybody, all my favorite booktubers participate in this. So I'm really excited to get to participate myself. And I was blown away at how creative the host for this readathon was in creating all of the prompts. So if you haven't heard of it before or you aren't familiar with the Owls Readathon, it is of course inspired by Harry Potter, and I am a huge Harry Potter fan, so I'm so excited for this. And the owls, or the OWLs, are inspired by the tests, or the ordinary wizarding level examinations that students at Hogwarts have to take in order to pass a class or reach the next level. And this readathon actually includes the owls, and then later in August we'll have the newts, which is like a level up and it's a little bit harder. You have more prompts to read with the newts. And I'll link the video down below where G over at Book Roast explains how this readathon works. She's created several careers that you can choose, and with that career comes several prompts that you have to complete, or OWL examinations that you have to take. And so I have chosen my career. And I was not going to do this at first because of course it seemed kind of obvious, but I really wanted to choose Hogwarts Professor. And I am a teacher in real life, and because I'm not getting to do a lot of teaching right now, it just seemed perfect for me. Plus all of the prompts for the Hogwarts Professor lined up really great with what I really wanted to read this month as well. I have to complete 7 Owls examinations. Now, 5 of those are any of your choice because obviously as a Hogwarts professor you don't know what you're going to be teaching, so you can choose 5 that you're just interested in to see what you will teach at Hogwarts. If I were going to teach at Hogwarts, I think I would want to teach Transfiguration because McGonagall is my favorite professor at Hogwarts. So yeah, I would definitely teach Transfiguration. I want to turn some things into animals. That'd be cool. So for the Hogwarts Professor, if you can see this, hopefully you can, this is the career guide that G has created that shows you all the different careers and the prompts that you have to read for those careers. So for the Hogwarts Professor, you have to pass 7 owls in total. And first you choose the subject you want to teach, which is Transfiguration. Then you have to take Defense Against the Dark Arts, and then 5 additional subjects of your choice. So I'm going to just go through each one of these owls and tell you what book I chose for each one. So we'll start with the subject that I want to teach. And like I said, Transfiguration is my choice for that. And for the Transfiguration prompt, you have to have a book that includes shapeshifting. So I picked this book, A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. And I've really been wanting to pick this up, especially since they've already come out with the sequel to this. And I've heard a lot of good things about this. And this is obviously a shapeshifting story because it is a modern retelling of Beauty and the Beast, so there is a little bit of shape-shifting in here, and I'm really excited to read this. I was hesitant at first because it's a modern retelling and I don't usually read a lot of those, but I just wanted to step outside my comfort zone because I know so many people love this. So this will fulfill my prompt for Transfiguration. I also have to take Defense Against the Dark Arts, which means a book that is set mostly at sea or by the ocean. And because last month I finished Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, I wanted to go ahead and pick up Red Seas Under Red Skies, which is the second in the series. I think Scott Lynch is supposed to come out with book 4 this year actually, so I'm really excited about that. I loved Lies of Locke Lamora, and this is, I think, mostly set on their trip to wherever they're escaping to. So it's mostly set at sea, and obviously seas is in the cover. So I think this fulfills my prompt for Defense Against the Dark Arts. So I'm excited to read this. And the next 5 prompts, I could choose whichever ones I wanted to. So I started with The History of Magic, and this requires you to pick up a book that has witches in it. And I kind of stretched on this one a little bit and I feel kind of bad, but I really, really want to read this book and I've been waiting to pick it up for so long. So I was looking around for my book, but it's sitting right in front of my face. So that's where we're at. Well, I wanted to pick up for this prompt Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, and I know that it is not explicitly stated that they are witches, but they do have special powers, and they are trained in these powers at the monastery, the nunnery, basically. So I am considering this my witch book. I'm sorry if it is not exactly what the prompt was asking for, but I just really wanted to pick this book up because I know that Mark Lawrence is starting another series set in the same world, and the book is coming out this year, or maybe it's already out. I don't think it's come out yet. Anyway, so I really wanted to pick up Red Sister because I know so many people love this, and it includes nuns and assassins and special powers. So this is what we're doing. History of magic. So for the next prompt, I actually have 2 books that could qualify for this, and I am kind of stuck between them. So if you've read either of these books, maybe you can help me make this decision because I literally cannot decide. But my next prompt was Muggle Studies, which has to have a book from a Muggle's perspective or a contemporary. And I was nervous about this because I don't read a lot of contemporaries. My main genre is like fantasy. So I don't have a lot of contemporaries, but the one that I do is Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemmerer. And I am already reading a Brigid Kemmerer this month, so this could decide that I read the other book. But I really want to read this because Murphy Napier really loves Brigid Kemmerer's contemporary books, and this is why I picked this one up, because if I am going to read a contemporary, I need it to be something that's kind of hard-hitting and important and covers serious topics, and I think this does. I think it is about a girl whose mother just passed away, and she writes letters to her mother and takes them to the grave. And then a boy who I'm guessing works in the cemetery starts to find these letters, and they start corresponding with each other, but they don't know who the other person is. So I am considering this one, and we will see if this one wins for the Muggle Studies. And then the other one is on its way, it's in the mail, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I have not read a Christina Lauren book. I know a lot of people love them. Again, I just don't do temporary that much. Again, I just don't read a lot of contemporary, but I read the premise for The Unhoneymooners, and it doesn't seem too incredibly cringy. So it's on the way, it's in the mail. If you've read it and you really think it's something that I would enjoy, or you just want more people to read it, let me know, and I will choose between Letters to the Lost and The Unhoneymooners, and that will fulfill my Muggle Studies prompt for the OWLs. So the next prompt is potions, and we are creating a shrinking potion, so it has to be a book under 150 pages. This was incredibly hard. If you are a fantasy lover, you know that not a lot of fantasy books are under 150 pages. And I even had the smallest, and I guess this could be considered fantasy, this is not my choice, but look how small this is. It's 160 pages, and I don't want to break the rules. So I did, however, find Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and I've been wanting to make my way through childhood classic fantasy books. I read Peter Pan a while ago, and this does fulfill the requirement. I think it has like 148 pages, 140 actually, so it's right under the requirement, but I am going to read this for my potions OWL, and I really think I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, so the next prompt I thought was really creative because it does kind of offer you a lot of choice, but the next prompt was for divination, and this prompt asks you to choose several books that you want to read, just several on your TBR, and assign a number to them and use a random number generator to choose the book that you want to read. And this was really hard for me because I have a lot of books that I want to read, and I think what I'm going to do is the ones that are not chosen, if I finish the readathon before the end of April, I'm just going to pick up the ones that weren't chosen. So I have picked up a random number generator, and I've done 1 through 5, and 4 was not the pick, it's just what was pulled up on there. I haven't pressed generate yet. So I'm going to show you the books that I'm going to include in this list. Number 1 is going to be one that I really want to read, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I've been intimidated by this book because it is a hefty tome. Like, it's his epic high fantasy series, and I love Brandon Sanderson. I really want to pick it up, but I've been putting it off, and it is time. It's time to pick it up. I can feel it, because his book 4, Rhythm of War, is coming out in November, and I don't want to get to November and not have read 1 through 3. So this is going to be number 1. I really want to pick this up. Number 2 is another series that I really need to start reading because so many people love this series, and that is book 1 in the Infernal Devices, which is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I only ever read the Mortal Instruments series. I didn't love it. It was really entertaining when I was younger. I don't think if I read it again I would enjoy it, but I do know that a lot of people say that the Infernal Devices is her best series, and I do want to continue in the Shadowhunters world. So I want to pick this up and see if I like it. So this will be number 2. So number 3 is another fantasy that I'm really excited to get into, and that is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto. I am a huge fan of the Phoenix myth, the fact that, you know, they rise from the ashes, and on the back this book says, "I am a daughter of death, from the ashes I rose like a phoenix from the pyre." I really want to read this, so this is my number 3. Number 4 is going to be Keeper of the Lost Cities, book 2, which is called Exile. I just finished number 1 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities, and I loved it so much. This is a middle grade fantasy where the young girl Sophie is raised in a human world, and then one day she discovers that she is actually a fae, and she has these special powers. You know, it's very tropey, but I loved it. It was so entertaining, and yes, it's a middle grade, but it is written like a young adult fantasy. So I think this would be really interesting to a lot of people. So this will be my number 4. And lastly, my number 5 is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And this is another one that is just a series that a lot of people have loved. And she has just come out with her cover for book 3. So it is time for me to pick this up. I know that this is an adult fantasy based on real events, and I know that it is very dark. But I really appreciate dark fantasy every once in a while, and I've heard that this is amazing. So I'm going to make this my number 5. All right, so we've got our random number generator, and we're gonna generate. Let's do it. Okay, so it is number 5, which was The Poppy War. I'm really actually excited about that because I've been really wanting to pick this book up. So this will fulfill my, I think it's Divination prompt. That'll be Poppy War. My last prompt that I have to complete to fulfill the Hogwarts Professor career is Ancient Runes, which has to be a book with a heart on the cover or in the title, and that is going to be Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. And I am a fan of portal fantasy. I loved Chronicles of Narnia, and I am reading Alice in Wonderland, so that's kind of similar. But I know that so many people love this series, and I think the 5th book in this series is about to come out soon. And it's very short, so it shouldn't take me more than like a day or 2 to get this done. So that fulfills my Ancient Runes prompt. And while that is all that I need to fulfill the prompts for the career of Hogwarts Professor, the host of this has also created these additional trainings or certificates that you can get if you want to add to your TBR for the month, and I thought that was so cool. So I looked through the certificates and the trainings, and I found that you can get a certificate in Dragon Tamer Training. I'm gonna tame some dragons. So this has to be obviously a book with dragons in it. And I'm going to read The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I know that this doesn't look like it has a dragon in it, but I've heard so many people say that the baby dragon in this book, that's right, a baby dragon, is the most adorable character they have ever seen. So I'm really excited to pick up this middle grade fantasy. And that will get me my Dragon Tamer Training certificate, and I will be officially able to tame dragons. All right, guys, that is my April TBR and my Owls Readathon picks and career. I hope that you participate in this readathon. I'll link Book Roast down below so you can go check her out. She's really, really entertaining and so creative to have made this readathon what it is. I'm excited to participate, and I'll see you again soon.